Are you happy now, JJ? Have you forgotten that Ulissa was Max's friend too? Did you forget that she cared about him when she was alive? Placing the blame on other people isn't gonna help one bit. Max needs to learn from his mistakes, just like how I had to learn from mine. You told me that you planned to go after Isidore and Gianni's shares. Did you make a decision? Isidore is the easier mark. Then let's get to work. How do you plan to take his shares? Welcome back, Pacho. It's good to be back. You wanted to see me about developing my program? That's right. Since you've gained a positive reception for discussing your affair with Gianni Russo, America is looking forward to hearing more from you, Gwendolyn. Do you have any idea of what sort of topics you want to cover? There are a number of topics. To be honest, I'm not even sure where to start. Put those ideas to the side for now. I want you to start off your program by discussing violent tragedies in schools. Vanessa. Hey JJ, how are you doing? What can I help you with, Vivian? It's more about how I can help you. What do you mean? I'm concerned about your father. How come? I'm concerned that his mind isn't in the right place at the moment. He's not in the right mind? I live with a man, and I haven't noticed anything. I'm only concerned because your father, he signed over half of his Russo Jewelry shares to me. It sounds like you want me to start my program off on a somber note. Did you expect to be covering gossip and interview the most popular celebrities? No, Pacho, I didn't. But discussing violent tragedies in schools is pretty fresh, especially since our siblings need to heal. Correction, your brother needs time to heal. He's alive. Nichelle needs time to heal because she's still mourning over the fact that our sister Ulissa's body is rotting in the ground. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I know you didn't, Max. It's just that being here after I've just been in my own world, I'm sure I don't have to guess what's in your head. Don't feel bad, Vanessa. Everyone in the school is in their own world right now. I get that everyone in the school is going through it, but not everyone was in the library with us. Everyone didn't see Ulissa take her last breath, and I wish I could have spared you from seeing that. This is literally my first day back at school, Yvette. I woke up from a coma only to find out that my friend lost her life here because my former friend went nuts. I'm sorry, that was a stupid question. It sure was. You've been making stupid decisions lately. Are you talking about when I involved myself with Keeve during the summer? Not just that. I heard what you did the day Ulissa lost her life. How come you didn't get help from the school resource officer the second you saw Keeve? Why did you speak with Max and risk everyone's life? What do you mean my father signed over half of his shares to you, Vivian? It was a surprise to me too, Isidore. He called me to his office and just signed them over. I tried to refuse, but he wouldn't let me. But why? Why would my father sign over his shares to you, an intern, my intern? He went on about how he was impressed by my work ethic and that the company could use someone like me. This was his way of ensuring that I stay at the company permanently. I tried to see if I could send them back, but he wouldn't let me. Alright, I'm glad you told me, Vivian. Just sign my father's shares over to me, and I'll handle this. I can't do that, Isidore. I'm sorry if it sounded like I made Ulissa's passing seem irrelevant. That wasn't my intention. But since you just lost your sister, I just thought you'd want to hold off from discussing a subject that affected you on a personal level. Ulissa lost her life over an issue that has been going on for decades, because this country can't seem to figure out how to stop it from happening again. I'd like to do my part in keeping a tragedy like this from happening again. Since your brother almost lost his life, I assume that you shared the same goal as well. Just like I told you when you were at my house after the funeral, you're not to blame for what happened. My mom told me the same thing. Well, your mom's right, but nothing can prove JJ wrong. If I just listened to you, if we just stayed put and called for help, then Keith could have been stopped. Most of all, Ulissa, she'd still be here. We don't know what could have happened, Max. Remember, Keith slithered his way into the school. His plan was to take out as many people in this school as he could. Then how come he didn't just use his gun the second he stepped into the school? Because Max, Vanessa, and Yvette were the first people I saw. I was gonna get help, but I felt like I needed to warn them first, JJ. Do you even feel bad? Of course I feel bad for Ulissa losing her life that day. Even though Ulissa and I couldn't stand each other, the last thing I wanted was for her to lose her life, especially since she lost her life so brutally. It was awful, JJ. That day was awful. I mean, do you feel bad for your role in her life being taken? JJ, I understand that you're hurting, and I know how much you cared about Ulissa, but I'm not gonna take the blame for what Keith chose to do. Alright, Yvette, if you're so innocent in all of this, then why didn't you show up at the funeral? Vivian, you've worked here long enough to know that the shares to this company are to be held by members of the Russo family. My father is right in you being an excellent employee, but that doesn't make you a Russo. I understand that, Isidore, but I'm worried about what Lorenzo might do. If he finds out that I signed over the shares to you, let me worry about that. My father clearly isn't in the right mind, but he's still the head of this company. He's still got power, and I can't take the risk of what he might do if I sign over those shares to you, Isidore. Why are you so worried about what would happen if you signed over the shares to me? Do you remember when I walked in on you and your father speaking in his office? Yeah. Well, he explained to me that he doesn't want you being the next in line to run Russo Jewelers. He made it clear that he wants Gianni to succeed him. My vision for my show is to change lives. An issue like this is definitely something that could encourage the nation to find a solution to violence in schools. I'm glad we're on the same page, Quinlan. I knew you wouldn't let me down. I don't know why Keith didn't cause chaos the second he walked into the school. In fact, I don't want to know. The last thing I want is to know what goes on in that crazy brain of his. But if I knew what he was thinking that day, I would have done things completely different. We can't turn back time, Max, no matter how much we want to. And believe me, if I could turn back time and make sure that Ulissa was still with us, then I'd take that chance in a heartbeat. But it's never gonna happen. What we can do is look forward to the day we reunite with Ulissa, and we can look forward to the day the legal system fries Keith. Like I said, you knew that Ulissa and I never got along. I didn't want to seem fake and be at her funeral. If the roles were reversed, Ulissa would have attended your funeral. Are you sure? I knew my friend Yvette. Bottom line, I avoided the funeral because I didn't want to cause any more pain. Whatever. You weren't missed anyways. In fact, if you lost your life that day, you wouldn't have been missed. I actually wish it was you who lost your life instead of Ulissa. My father truly wants Gianni to be the next in line to take over Russo Jewelers. Mr. Russo told me that you did something unforgivable, but he wouldn't tell me what you did. Don't worry about that, Vivian. Since you know all of this, am I what? Do you plan to stage a hostile takeover? Don't involve yourself in what I plan to do. I feel like I owe it to you, Isidore. You've been so good to me, and the last thing I want is to see you lose your chance at running this company someday. I want to help you however I can. Because you're right. It's clear that your father is no longer fit to run this company when you're more than capable of running it yourself. Vivian, what do you plan to gain from me becoming the CEO of Russo Jewelers?